Hello and welcome to the 117th day of our 365 days of Bible study. We are continuing with the story of the divided kingdom and the period between the prophet Elijah and the fall of Jerusalem. Today we are looking at the kingdom of Judah and the discovery of the book of Deuteronomy in the temple. This is the second book of Kings, chapter 22, verses 3 to 13. When he had reigned for 18 years, King Josiah sent the court secretary Shaphan, Azaliah's son, Meshullam's grandson, to the temple. He was carrying out the king's order. Get a report from Hilkiah, the chief priest. He is to find out how much revenue the priests at the entrance have collected from visitors. Then he is to forward the proceeds to those in charge of the maintenance of the temple. The money is to be used to pay the carpenters, builders, and stonemasons, and to purchase the timber and stone they need. Because I trust the honesty of those in charge of the actual works, I won't need to see their accounts. When Shaphan delivered the king's orders to Hilkiah, Hilkiah mentioned to him that he had discovered a book of law there, and he gave it to him to read. Once he was back with the king, he reported, "They have handed the money over to the maintenance crew," and then he said, "Look at this book that Hilkiah gave to me." And he read from it aloud to the king. Exasperated, the king shredded his robes when he heard it, and he called to him the priest Hilkiah, Ahikam, Shaphan's son, Achibor, Micaiah's son, Shaphan the court secretary, and Ahaziah, the king's personal assistant. He gave this order to them: "I want you to consult Yahweh on my behalf and on behalf of all Judah about the contents of this book. I want to find out if Yahweh is angry with us, because our forebears have not done what this book says." Hezekiah, as we saw yesterday, and Josiah, as we have seen today, were both remembered with reverence as monarchs who supported the worship of Yahweh and tried to purify the faith of the people of Judah, which happened when Assyria was on the decline while Babylon was on the rise. Now, what is this that has been discovered by the temple chief during what looks like a major refit and refurbishment? Many scholars agree that it can't be the whole of the book of Deuteronomy as we now have it, but probably an early draft of it. The finishing touches have been added later, during or after the Babylon exile. Some have ventured that what the chief priest had in his hands was largely the contents of Deuteronomy chapters 12 to 26 and possibly 28. How had it come to be written? And why had it been bricked up in the temple so that it could be found and in Hilkiah's possession? Its largely conventional take on law and custom makes one suspect it had been written when the traditionalists were having a hard time. It may well have been hidden in the temple to conceal evidence of the opponents of a regime that was under the thumb of Assyria in the mid-600s BC. That regime was put under pressure by the Assyrians and was giving in to the influence of these powerful pagans. But it didn't stay the same. And one generation later, in the very early 600s BC, Assyria's power was fading fast, and the fledgling empires of Babylon and Persia were beginning to flex their muscles. What a timely moment to refurbish the temple and discover, or rather rediscover, this old book to remind the people of Judah about better days in the past. We can't tell now if anyone knew it was there all along, but we might suspect that someone, possibly the high priest himself, was looking for the right moment to reveal its contents. Nothing in the text today rules that out. History, however, is littered with such difficult times, when powerful overlords send conquered leaders and scholars underground or into exile lest they be caught. Conquerors often attempt to decapitate a subjugated society so that there would be no natural leaders around whom a rebellion might coalesce. The book of Deuteronomy is a testament to the resilience of a people determined not to lose their identity or their traditions. From this late flowering of the kingdom of Judah, copies of this book were preserved and valued. It came back from the exile, a few chapters fatter, and made its way into the traditions of its people, the Jews, and into ours as well. Sadly, this late flowering was not to last long, and soon Babylon came knocking at the doors of history, as we shall see tomorrow.